A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Sunday afternoon. I hope you're all well. I'm back from my holiday. At least the sun's shining here in London. It's warm. So I guess I don't feel too disappointed that I'm back. Well, I am, because where we went was superb. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that like button. Please become a subscriber of the channel. As usual, as I say, subscribing to the channel is completely free, and all my content is free as well. Now, what am I going to focus on? Well, usually when I do a video, I normally talk about a few players all at once, especially during transfer window season. But I thought this time round I'll focus just on one player, because whilst I was away, I was trying to keep up to date with everything that was happening, but one story came up, I think on Saturday evening, where I thought, that's quite interesting, and I'll tell you for why. There could be a very good reason why West Ham United have yet to conclude the signings of either Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton or Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Man United. And the reasons could be that we've decided to target an alternative right back to these two players. Now, look, Ben Johnson left West Ham at the beginning of July. We're now halfway through the month. We're now 3 weeks into the month, and we've yet to sign a replacement. And the reason why, like I said, is, apparently we're still talking to Southampton about a deal. We still can't agree the value that Southampton have on Walker-Peters. They still want over £20 million for the player who's in the last year of his contract, and we've yet to sort of approach Man United for Wan-Bissaka. Now, if you listen to the rumours, Kyle Walker-Peters, Southampton, they want about up to 23 million. Man United would be interested in the 15 million plus add-ons for their player. But of course, we know that Wan-Bissaka's wages are quite prohibitive, whereas Walker-Peters is on something like 35 grand a week. Wan-Bissaka is on well over 100 grand a week. So one is about the price of Walker-Peters, the sale price, the transfer price for Walker-Peters, and the other is about the salary that Wan-Bissaka is on. So I'm not surprised that perhaps we are now looking for an alternative. And that alternative could be a Belgian international who's just completed a season on loan at Italian club Bologna. And his name is Alexis Saelemaekers. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, he's not likely to be a name that many West Ham fans will be familiar with. But if this signing happens, it could have the hallmark of Tim Steidten stamped all over it. For those of you who watch the videos I do, I recently did a video a few weeks back about Steidten himself and his philosophy on his player signings, and it's quite broad. Now, whilst many fans are expecting Steidten to unearth footballing pearls, like we all hope Luis Guilherme will turn out to be, Steidten also has a knack for signing players who've reached a crossroads in their careers, where perhaps a new environment could get them back to delivering their very best on the football pitch. Steidten did this with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne when he signed him on loan from Chelsea to Werder Bremen, and he also did it with Moussa Diaby when he signed him from PSG to go to Leverkusen. Now, at the time of signing both these players, neither De Bruyne nor Diaby were regulars for their respective clubs. Moves to Werder Bremen and Leverkusen proved to be turning points for both players in their careers. Now, granted, De Bruyne and Diaby were a little bit younger when they moved than Saelemaekers is now, but the principle's the same. So that's why I find the transfer story about Alexis Saelemaekers an interesting one, and one that could potentially happen in favour of West Ham, despite there being up to another three Premier League clubs looking at the potential of signing the player. Saelemaekers developed in the youth ranks of Anderlecht, where he started his playing career as a right back. But playing in that position in his senior professional career was rather short-lived. He made 64 appearances for Anderlecht, 6 of which were only as a right back. He rapidly progressed into a more right-sided midfield role, but the player's versatility saw him in no fewer than 7 different positions in his time at the Belgian club. He made 11 appearances on the left side of the pitch, once as a left back, 4 times as a left-sided midfielder, and another 6 times as an inverted left winger. He also played 4 times as a central attacking midfielder. But it is mainly on the right side of the pitch that he played most of his games for Anderlecht, 20 times as a right-sided midfielder and another 14 times as a right winger. His displays drew the attention of AC Milan, where back in January 2020, they agreed a 3.25 million euros loan deal for the player, with an obligation to buy him in that summer of that year. The deal was completed in summer of 2020, where AC Milan paid a further 7.65 million euros to complete the permanent signing. So a total outlay of something like just under 11 million euros. That's about, what, 9 million pounds? He made 140 appearances for the Italian club, of which the vast majority were as a right winger, 78 appearances there, and a right-sided midfielder, 44 appearances. And then last season, he was sent out on loan to another Italian club, Bologna, where he made 32 appearances for that club. And there is where his playing style, well, not playing style, but his position was changed quite dramatically. The then head coach of Bologna, Thiago Motta, used the player far more extensively on the left side of attack. So in the 32 appearances that he made for them, 27 of which were as a left winger. So do we really need another right winger, or do we need a player like this at West Ham United? Well, not so much only for a right winger, but it's his versatility that I think is the attraction here. Bologna, they had an option to make his loan move permanent, but the new head coach of Bologna, Vincenzo Italiano, has opted not to take that option up. Now, AC Milan also have a new head coach, Paulo Fonseca, and he also doesn't see Saelemaekers to be fitting into his plans for the future. So the player is definitely available to buy. Now, I think he absolutely fits in to a Tim Steidten kind of Julian Lopetegui type of player. As explained earlier, he's versatile. He's at the right age. He's only 25 years of age, and he could be revitalized in a new league, a new environment, a new club. He's got great potential, and he's able to play in a number of positions, as I've already mentioned, which suits Lopetegui's needs to fulfill a 4-3-3, 3-4-3 kind of formation that he's been adopting in pre-season friendlies so far. Now, given that Steidten and his scouting team rely heavily on stats when considering to buy a player, according to the most recent scouting reports, Saelemaekers' stats are not too bad. For example, in Serie A last season, he finished in the top 70% of players for chances created and ball recoveries. His goal efficiency ranking is also to be said to be impressive, standing at 84%. And additionally, he has an 84% success rate in his crossing ratio per game. So he is, and he should be, an influential player in attacking play. Some stats do need working on. For example, his ball retention, which is only 42%, and he also needs to improve on his defensive qualities, such as shielding the ball a lot better. But despite being dangerous in attack for creating chances, his shots per game ratio are quite low. Now, this could be a hint that perhaps the player himself doesn't have the confidence on taking more shots, or it could demonstrate a more selfless style of play. All in all, I think Saelemaekers could be utilised either on the left side of attacking play, or for Lopetegui, who likes his fullbacks to go forward quite advanced in quite advanced areas, he could be used as a right wing back in Lopetegui'S system, which will free up the likes of Jared Bowen to play a more further forward role in a three up front. And it could also mean that the likes of Mohamed Kudus could also play a more central role. So it kind of frees up that right side. He would, of course, be in competition with Vladimir Coufal for that role. Now, apparently, AC Milan are likely to accept a bid of around £12 million, with perhaps up to maybe £2 or £3 million in add-ons. His salary is only 25 grand a week, which, even if West Ham United were to offer him a modest pay rise, would fit well within our salary range, our salary cap. So all in all, if we do sign him, it would indicate a low risk financially and could prove to be quite a shrewd investment by Tim Steidten. It does seem to be an interesting transfer story that has come up over the last couple of days. Look, we seem to be shifting our focus on different players at the moment. We've spent quite a lot of time on many of the names that have been mentioned over and over again, like, for example, Todibo. I believe there are other players from AC Milan that are rumored to be now favoured, given that the Todibo deal looks to be dead and buried. So that's why I think the Saelemaekers story is rather interesting. It seems to be that we're kind of growing tired of some of the links or some of the players that we're meant to be linked with, and we're beginning to look elsewhere. Watch out for more on this. Apparently, we're looking like we could make an offer for the player in the early part of next week, possibly Monday. So look out for that. Thank you for watching. Like I said, if you've yet to become a subscriber, to subscribe to the channel, do hit that like button, and I'll see you again very soon.